Well, typically there are three factors: liability, damages, and exposure. Some cases, like a dog bite case, would have an additional factor. But let's, liability. Was someone careless that caused your injury? Were they negligent? If they were, they are liable. So you have liability. If the accident was your fault, there is no liability. But let's assume the accident was caused by someone else. That person is liable for the carelessness, the negligence in causing your accident. The next aspect is damages. Someone might be negligent, they might be careless, but if you didn't suffer any damages, if you don't have an injury, you're not going to have a case that's worth bringing. But if you do have damages, if you are injured, if you are caused to miss work, you have damages and you're entitled to be compensated for them. The third aspect is exposure. The person may be at fault. You may have serious physical injuries, but if that person doesn't have adequate insurance and you don't have your own underinsurance that would protect you, you may not be able to collect all the money that you're entitled to. I have a case now where a woman was hit as a pedestrian. She has a fractured skull, a fractured wrist, a fractured clavicle, a fractured leg, and a punctured lung. And she's had a traumatic brain injury. And at the time of the accident, she was working full time. The tortfeasor, the car that hit her, only has insurance for $300,000. Her own policy, her underinsured motorist policy, has $1 million in coverage. So I believe that she's going to be able to obtain $300,000 from the tortfeasor, the person who caused the accident, and I believe she's going to be able to collect another $700,000 from her own insurance policy that insures against an underinsured motorist, like this situation. The $300,000 may seem like a lot of money, but when you weigh that against the damages that my client sustained in this incident, it's not nearly enough. It's good that she has $1 million underinsurance. So the underinsurance she has is $1 million. Pardon me. But there's a set-off. The $300,000 is deducted from the $1 million. So she, I anticipate, is going to be able to collect $1 million regarding this accident. However, if there were $10 million in insurance, I believe, based on these injuries, that she would be entitled to the whole thing. But it's very difficult to collect money against an individual. So there's liability. Was the person at fault? Damages. What are your injuries and what did you suffer? And exposure. How much insurance is available? And those are basically the three aspects of a personal injury action. Earlier I mentioned a dog bite. When you sue for a dog bite, you have to prove that the dog had a vicious propensity. That would be an additional aspect in that specific type of case.